You need to lead your phone. You need to be the owner and the manager of your phone, not the other way around. Your phone can't dominate you, right? Your apps can't dominate you. You need to dominate that. You need to take control. You need to be able to have self-control and be able to have a sense of authority over your devices, because you need to know that you own it and that it doesn't own you. But most people have their phones and their social media own them. It's the first thing that we do in the morning. It's the last thing that we do at night. When we're on the toilet, we're on them. And in the showers, actually, people go on their phones, or we're listening to music, right? I'm not saying it's all bad. I'm not here to vilify social media. I'm here to help us understand that it is a platform, that it's a tool, and most people don't know how to use it to their advantage to really enhance their life.
You like being daddy's arms with microphones. You like being a worker. You're made for the camera. Both my boys are.
Hey, this video you are about to watch is a part of a series where I show you how to quit porn the right way. So do yourself a favor, binge on all of this content, all the videos that you possibly can, because who knows, maybe if the value and the trust is built together over this journey, you'll want to jump into a community that I call Fit for Family. Or maybe you think these videos suck, and that's also fair too. But nonetheless, there's only one way for us to find out. So enough of me, let's get back to serving you, and let's get back to the video. Okay, we are gonna do an exercise right now. Now the exercise, I'll give you the end of it right now. The punchline is you are gonna end up deleting all of your social media, okay? You're gonna remove all the apps from your phone fully and completely from every single device that you have. Now, before I tell you to do that, for what seems like the obvious reason, let me explain a little bit more of the heart behind it, the value for it, and why not just it's going to benefit your life, but again, understanding why we do things is really important. If we just delete it, be like, okay, he said to do it, and we mindlessly do it, I don't want it to be a mindless choice for you. I want it to feel like a very deliberate, thoughtful, convicted place. And so because of that, you know, when I coach people, or where I share with them what are probably the most helpful strategies, the most helpful tactics for them to be able to like enhance the quality of their life with God and other people, and obviously with quitting porn and not going back, it's a no-brainer to say social media is a massively powerful tool that few of us have the ability to truly harness and wield, myself included. And so my whole goal here is, because I don't love to tell people what to do, you know, you need to do this, you need to do that. I feel like it just sounds very arrogant. I feel like God can speak to people very clearly and convict them of different things. And I even understand the tension between some people might be like, well, I run my business off my social media, so what do you suppose I do there? And there's a lot of things that I can help for that. I'll make in another video if you have your business on a social media platform, to be able to help you as much as possible, because I run my business and all the things that I do on social media as well exclusively. So I'm with you in the trenches there. But let me just kind of frame this up for a minute. Because for years, I would tell people to delete social media if they felt life on it. And I remember this one guy in particular, he was getting coaching from me. We were working through things. And one thing that he noticed is he wasn't going back to porn anymore, but he just felt still very unfulfilled. He felt like he didn't have time. He felt very overwhelmed, very overstimulated. And I just felt to ask him, I was like, you know, Holy Spirit was kind of like, ask him about his relationship to social media and his phone. And he started to confide in me that he spent all of his time there, you know, hours a day. And statistically speaking, you know, it's what most Americans do. It's what most humans do, is we spend about 8 hours a day on screen time. As of this recording, at least, that's kind of what the studies and stats have shown. And it's more or less obviously dependent on each person. And he started to tell me that he just spends so much time on his phone, so much time on apps, playing games, doing things, checking what other people are up to. And so I started to say to him, okay, like, what would happen if you were to get rid of it? And we went back and forth on all the pros and all the cons. And he was just like, Matt, I need you to give it to me straight. Like, what should I do? And this is where I feel like, almost let me come to you, although I'm not maybe your father, I'm definitely maybe younger than you or around your age. Let me kind of come from a position of fathering you in this moment, because I feel like what fathers do is they create perspective, guidance, correction, and training. And that's my goal in this program, but also with this client, a friend of mine who was asking me pointedly, like, Matt, just tell me what to do. And I just said, listen, man, social media is a very powerful tool that you do not know how to use yet. I said, you don't have hobbies. You don't, from what you're telling me, you don't have much of a vision anymore. You don't have time. I said, the truth is you have more time than anybody knows what to do with. We all have given the same amount of time in life, 24 hours, right? 7 days a week, 365. And I said, you're just not optimizing it well. You're not utilizing this time well. And I said, do you feel like you are living an invigorated life that people should be jealous of? And he said, no. Then I said, then that is probably the concluding thought and question that you need to answer in order for you to know that you should definitely get off social media. I said, just get off it, man. Make it a part of your life practice and your life rhythm with God to just stop numbing, stop consuming content online, on YouTube, on Reddit, on forums, trying to listen to really smart people. Because even for myself, like, I love social media. I love what it can do. I love how versatile it is. I love that you can learn from really influential, smart people, either that love God or, have a very strong wisdom by the Lord in other areas that they've applied themselves to. But really, when we're on social media, and let's just say you're like, oh, but I use it to keep up with my friends and this, that, and the other. There's so many other ways that we can keep up with our friends. So let me kind of give some of the heart behind why I think getting off social media is super important. God created you and I to create, first and foremost. He created you and I to create, not just consume content, not just be able to get taken in by it and all this information constantly, but actually be able to create as he is. We were made in his image. We were made in his likeness. And when we take a position of just consuming, just taking in content over and over and over, we're not really winning. We're not really walking out in our calling. We're not going to be fulfilled. We're not going to be happy. We're not going to be peaceable. We're not going to be connected. We're going to feel lethargic, tired, overwhelmed, overstimulated. We're going to feel apathetic. We're going to feel directionless. We're going to feel unmotivated when you watch other people live your life, the dreams that you have for your life, and you're seeing it on a social media feed, on a screen, on a scroll, as you're just doom scrolling. There's nothing compelling about that. And so I said to my friend, I said, dude, on the other side of your boredom is your genius. And most people never allow themselves to truly find their stroke of genius with God because they're too busy coping. They're too busy numbing. And I feel like social media and being on our phones with apps, and even if it's not social media, but it's just apps and games that you have downloaded that you're playing constantly, you're like, oh, but it's fun. And I'm like, great. It might be fun on the front side, but is it giving you the long-term fruit of your life that you truly want? The seeds that you're sowing today will bring the harvest for you tomorrow, next week, a month from now, 6 months from now. When you look at that epitome, pinnacle version of you and who you are, is he still doing those things? Is he on social media, on YouTube, on Reddit, on Snapchat, on Twitter, as much as you currently are now, yes or no? And how you answer that question is going to determine a lot too. And so from a place of just providing clear structure, I'm a huge advocate of doing things that give us life, that produce life for us. But let's be honest, the algorithm knows that it's also going to showcase to you things that are going to keep you on the platform. That doesn't mean it's bad. It just means that from a platform perspective, we are the product. You might think like, why is it free? It's like, no, there is a cost. We are it. Like I've ran for advertisements on Instagram and Facebook or YouTube for years. And so all the men who worked with me inside of my coaching came from paid ads. And the reason why that is important is because businesses pay a lot of money, okay, to Meta, to TikTok, to YouTube, to these platforms that we're on so that they can advertise solutions that they believe we need for our life. Again, that's not a bad thing. I think it can be a really beautiful thing when you're doing it with the Lord in a way that's really helping people in areas that they're struggling with, specifically like helping guys quit porn. But where it becomes a trouble is that now, since it's a free platform, we think when things are free that it's okay. That since there's no cost, since it's no money coming out of my bank account, that it must be all right. But if we're not intentionally being discipled by God, we will unintentionally be discipled by the world around us. If you are not intentionally, deliberately leading your life, your phone, because how versatile it is to send text messages, make phone calls, send emails. You can schedule your whole life in from a phone. My whole company could, in theory, just work from a phone. I don't necessarily even need a laptop. It could all function just from a phone. It's incredible. It's amazing. It's beyond powerful. And when we as men aren't grounded in our identity and we don't trust ourselves, it's not going to go well. We are going to end up making poor choices. And because the algorithm knows what's going to keep us glued to their screen, glued to their app, so that those advertisers that pay them a lot of money can get their messaging, their marketing in front of your eyeballs. Again, I want you to see behind the matrix, behind the curtain of what's really going on here. So the more time you spend on your phone, on social media, the more opportunity marketers have to show you their products. And that's how Instagram makes their money, how Snapchat or Facebook or Twitter or YouTube and all these platforms end up making their money is from adverts. Now, again, the most successful people with self-control in their life rarely use it. Let me say that again for you. People who have the most amount of self-control rarely ever need to use it. I'm not 10 years, 11 years, 12 years, whatever, porn free, because I am seeing screens of pornography all around me every single day. I've actually cut off my ties with all those things. I've cut off my access. And one of those things is getting off social media. The only reason why I use it is for work and for ministry and for pouring into people. But apart from that, I'd almost have no usefulness to social media. I'd have no usefulness being on the platform. And so with that client friend of mine that I started to share this with, I was like, dude, get off. I was just very, very, no, I wouldn't say harsh or stern. I was just very clear with him. I was like, dude, get off. I was like, it's sucking your life away. You can't for one reason give me one benefit on how that's contributing to your marriage. You got kids, bro. I said, I don't see you being a more connected father as a result of being on social media. In fact, it's just to reinforce the narrative that you're going nowhere. And it makes you feel like crap. And I said, I guarantee you got other hobbies that you'd be interested in doing. And then he started to list them all off. And I said, now you can actually make time for this stuff. You can choose to value that more than letting your phone lead you. One of the coaches inside of our work that we do with men, he's famous for saying, he's like, you need to lead your time. You need to lead your phone. You need to be the owner and the manager of your phone, not the other way around. Your phone can't dominate you. Right? Your apps can't dominate you. You need to dominate that. You need to take control. You need to be able to have self-control and be able to have a sense of authority over your devices, because you need to know that you own it and that it doesn't own you. But most people have their phones and their social media own them. It's the first thing that we do in the morning. It's the last thing that we do at night. When we're on the toilet, we're on them. And in the showers, actually, people go on their phones, or we're listening to music, right? I'm not saying it's all bad. I'm not here to vilify social media. I'm here to help us understand that it is a platform, that it's a tool, and most people don't know how to use it to their advantage to really enhance their life, because the algorithm's so powerful. It's going to suggest things to you that keep you hooked, right? So if you are a dude between the ages of, let's just say, 16 or 14 and 100, they are going to assume this dude wants to see women. He wants to see women. He's a guy. What's going to garner and keep attention quicker than anything? It's going to be women naked, wearing something promiscuous, wearing something scantily, wearing something where it's like they're in a bathing suit, a bikini, a tank top, next to no shirt, no pants, whatever. Again, I'm just getting honest with you. Like, think through your mind about how many of the slip-ups into pornography you've had in the past year that have been due to the start of you just trying to numb out, trying to take some edge off, take some steam off from a long day at work, and then you all of a sudden see something put in your For You page or on your feed as you're scrolling that caught your eye, and then you go down the rabbit hole. It's not by accident. It's intentional, because the algorithm has said this is what's most important to this man and his habits. So they continue to reinforce it by sending you even more stuff. Now, I have a hack around that, being able to help change and shift the algorithm to your benefit so it can understand what your new patterns are. But up until we get to that point, that when it would be reintroducing social media, I wouldn't see this as a challenge, and I wouldn't see this as a diet, and I wouldn't see this as a fad. I would see this as a way of life. Now, again, if you want to live a life that the 1% of men that love Jesus, that have full control of their purity, of their thoughts, of their mind, of their emotions, of their actions have, you need to be willing to do what 99% of people aren't willing to do. And now this is why it's so important that you're in this journey with your friends that you invited. Now, if you manage to somehow get to this point in the program and you haven't yet invited your friends in, you haven't like literally just called up your homies and be like, yo, dude, I'm going through this like rad program, super free. It costs nothing. It's going to be some time, some energy, and some skin in the game of just effort we got to give it, but let's do this thing. Tell people in your church, like whatever you need to do. Again, this is for your support and your journey, because the biggest reason that people would tell me that they need to stay on social media is because, well, my relationships, my friendships, it's how I communicate with my buddies. And if you could only go back, this is more for the people that are younger, around like, let's just say like late teenagers, like 20s, stuff like that. But if you could only go back like 20 years, like as a kid for myself, I had like index cards with my friends' names and their addresses and their phone numbers. And I literally had to memorize all of the phone numbers of all of my friends, because if I wanted to hang out with them at my grandma's house, I'd have to use her old dial-up, and I'd literally just have to find the index card and be like, okay, Blake, and then just be like, memorize his number, because sometimes I was out, I wanted to hang with a friend, and I didn't have their phone number handy, so I had to memorize every single one of them and then call them. My point is that it's a fallacy to say that the only way we can remain connected to our relationships with our friends and be like, oh, well, they're abroad, and be like, well, this is an even better way to create more intentionality. This is an even better way to say, are they really our friends if you only know what they're up to because they post about it on a platform where you and them aren't even fully engaged? Again, it gets you aware about their life, but you're not even aware about your own. We're not even aware about what we're really building ourselves. And so from a standpoint, again, about saying that truly successful people that have self-control, they rarely use it. They don't need to use it. They don't flex it. They don't put it out there constantly. That's a true statement. And so for me in my life and all the people that I've worked with, I'm like, dude, you need to start building your world, building your life, and stop just numbing. Because there is a true story that is told to people. It's kind of an old, I wouldn't say fable or parable, but a bit of an adage or a saying is give them bread in a circus and they'll be happy for life. I can't remember who said it. Someone could just pull it up, maybe ChatGPT or on Google. But this idea of like, if you just give them bread and a circus, these people will give you all their money and stay entertained for life. And they will essentially kind of be like walking zombies. And so the idea of bread is food, comfort, be able to keep them full. And then the circus is that entertainment, which is now what all social media is. And so if you can't resoundingly say, and I can't, by the way, resoundingly say that I have full control over social media, because I don't get to select all my preferences. I don't get to select what comes up to me. When I go on my social media and I hit Instagram, and I all of a sudden, it just refreshes, it's going to give me the most intriguing, captivating posts that people thought should be viral. And so it's immediately trying to get and garner your attention. Immediately. Again, it's not a bad thing, but it's such an addictive platform because what it does to our dopamine levels, what it does to all of inside of our brain, and they know this, they understand that the people who create these platforms understand this. And again, I'm not here to vilify it, but if we don't have it work for us, it's going to work against us. And for most people, that's exactly it. So I just can't believe in a world, especially for a dude who's trying to quit porn and who's trying to rebuild trust with himself, like this is the exercise and the practice and a way of living life that's going to help you have the best chances of rebuilding trust with yourself over and over and over. It would be like the equivalent of an alcoholic being able to go on his phone and a beer bottle pop out, like physically through the screen. He's not going to have a really strong chance of overcoming it if he's inundated with opportunity to go back to an old identity, an old lifestyle. And I do believe that people oftentimes will go on social media platforms, and again, we start out trying to just get a relief. We're like, it's been a long day. I want to take the edge off. And I'm like, that right there is a big problem. If you are trying to take the edge off from your life and from your day, it's telling me that you're out of alignment and that you're disconnected. And dealing with our ish is the new flex that we need to be aware of. So deleting social media, and if you're like, Matt, how long? Do I got to do it 30 days? Do I got to do it 60 days? Do I got to do it 90 days? I'm going to tell you right now, for a starter, why don't you start with 1 month, 60 days, 90 days, whatever you can commit to. You and your friends agree on how long it's going to be, okay? Because again, I want you to feel in a large way in control and empowered to make a powerful choice and decision. It's got to be more, at minimum, a month, a minimum. Because studies have even proven that we need about 21 days to 28 days and ever in between in order to create and form a new habit, truly. And so what I'd love for you to do is not to just stay off because of the form of staying off, but I want you to reintroduce things that you actually want to do. A couple hobbies, things of interest. Be able to get the phone numbers from your friends and just communicate to the people that you really want to stay close with. Hey, I'm getting off the platform. You don't have to tell everyone publicly, but just tell some people like, yo, I'm getting off. Text me if you need me. Hit me up there. I'm done with this thing. Not life-giving. It's time to live life and not just be consumed by it. And throw that there. Or to your buddies, be like, hey, dudes, I'm quitting porn. And then explain to them why. It's an opportunity for you to grow in connection and get closeness. But if you minimum keep it for 30 days, what I wouldn't say is that you get back on it after 30 or 60 or 90. What I'd say is I want you to self-reflect and evaluate what life is looking like for you as a result of being off of it. And to that client friend of mine where he got to share with me what was going on in his life, he's like, dude, this is insane. He's like, no more urges. He's like, no more temptation. He's like, no more porn. He's like, I'm working on myself. He's like, I've done these 3 things. He's like, my relationship to my kids is so much greater. He's like, my wife feels like I'm more present. And I'm like, yeah, dude, that's for real, because you're now the creator of your life and not just the consumer of it. You are created by God to create, not just consume. And so when you start actually being a creator, an originator, you start to be an engineer, a fabricator, a designer, like all of these beautiful expressive terms in your identity and your walk with God, everything can change. But it can't do that if you have distractions. Because even if you weren't going on your social media and finding, let's just say, porn or, soft porn and pictures of women, it's a distraction. It's even a distraction for me. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I have social media on my phone because I use it for work, but I spent about 45 minutes on it even before filming these videos. Say, my wife was like, hey, babe, don't you have, a mission? Don't you have people that you need to help? Are you getting off that thing right now? And I could easily justify it by saying, research. I could say just, networking, talking to people, ministering, sharing, da-da-da-da-da. But a bit of it was being able to see content. I'd say probably over that 45 minutes, like 15 was being entertained. And I'm like, that's not going to leave us fulfilled when we just feel like we are enjoying a bread and a circus. We actually, the most fulfilling place is by being in the gladiator's arena of life, being the one to pour into other people, by getting all that energy out so it doesn't just stay trapped and have us feeling like we're unfulfilled, disconnected, and then like, where's God? And then we want to numb out from a life that we're not even engaging with to begin with. So hopefully this helps. Hopefully you can start to see some of the heart behind why I think it's super imperative for you to rebuild trust with yourself, why you need to regain that authority, why you need to regain that trust. And I've just never seen someone be able to quit porn successfully and make the decisions they want in life while acting with choices that are completely incongruent with who they say they now are. If porn wants to be in your past forever, then you need to know that social media is a massive proponent of that which is bringing you back there. And again, this isn't to just get off as a quick challenge, check off the box, be like, look, Lord, I did it. This is to say now you got rid of all the distractions so you can focus on that which truly is fulfilling, connecting, and bringing you life. And because you have your friends on this journey with you, the 5 dudes that you've invited, or women, or whoever that you've invited in on this journey with you, what I think that's able to do is provide you guys all as a collective the opportunity to go deeper, to be able to fight for each other, to cheer each other on, to have each other's backs, to encourage each other, to be able to say, hey, this is what I'm up to, or maybe start a group chat. I think all those things are incredibly helpful and supportive for you on your journey. Again, when you think of the bigger picture, like we're talking about life, dude. We're talking about our one opportunity to really max out the life that God gave us with the breath in our lungs, and we worship Him not just because we go to church on a Sunday. We worship Him with the way we live our life. So that being said, get off social media, delete that crap, make a moment of it, feel proud of yourself for it, and know that it's not a form of punishment so that you have less enjoyment in life, but actually so you can maximize the amount of enjoyment that you can now learn to create with God, your creator. You were created to create, not just consume. Hopefully this helps. Would love to hear how it goes. Share it in the group. Be proud of yourself. You're taking steps. You're taking action. And again, if you want to live that life of 1%, the truly fulfilled, happy men and women of God are having, you got to be willing to do what 99% of people aren't willing to do. I didn't become 11 years porn-free just by accident, just by mistake. It's through intentional pursuit, and I'm here to give you all the steps, all the tools, all the frameworks that have been working for me, so I believe that it could really help and serve you too. Hopefully that helps, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Hey, Hey, real quick, if you like that video that you just saw, or if you want to see even better videos than this in a series that I made called Annihilate Porn to help guys or girls like you quit porn, you can subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't forget any alerts, comment, like, all that jazz, and more importantly, check out the next video that's going to take you even further on the journey from where you are to where you want to be. I love you tons. I'll catch you in the next one.